suppose you can hear us. Come in, guys! Okay! Mum's here.
No, where's Warren? He wanted to be here.
Can everyone hear me alright?
Yeah. Wait a second.
I got 3 felt roast to do.
Oh, mate.
Swan.
Right, okay. Drink, chill.
For sake, Warren.
No stress. No, I'm not worried about it.
We've already started filming.
Okay.
Was very wet.
How long can we last? So should start by saying thank you to everyone who's come along here to join us to celebrate the wedding of Jaime and Harry. As you may know, Jaime met Harry whilst working at Keyhaven Yacht Club with her sister. Obviously Harry caught their attention as he was the only customer there they'd ever had. Jaime was the quickest off the mark between her and her sister and caught his eye, and their story began. A while later, when back at uni in Cardiff, I heard Jaime had been visiting her brother Connor regularly, who coincidentally was at Bath University at the same time as Harry. Obviously Jaime was beginning to fall for this guy, and it was probably the confident way he shook her hand after their first date. Sadie and I were first introduced to Harry in a quirky little tea house in Bath, and I was optimistic as Jaime had informed me he had recently suffered a sports injury. And being keen on sports myself, I thought this was something I could work with. When this timid young man arrived, the injury was as plain as the nose on his face. In fact, it was all the nose all over his face. More of a boxing injury, really, than a sports injury. We instantly warmed to Harry as he explained he had sustained this injury during a game of golf. Now, I'm not overly familiar with the rules of this game, but this accident had occurred on a short, crazy course and involved a bottle of port. Perhaps Harry might explain how that happened later. A sports injury, I'm going to go with that. So Jaime, where is she?
Right there.
The middle of our 3 children. She's always been the most responsible member of our family, and that includes Sadie and I. From the age of 4, we would hand out passports to her at the airport. And as she grew into the beautiful young lady you see here today, she excelled at everything she put her mind to. Dancing, running and chatting her way into all our hearts. And as a couple, Jaime and Harry are perfect. This Sadie and I can vouch for, as for various reasons, we've been lucky to have them as housemates recently. So on that note, I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank them both for providing me with the almost full-time role of being their official Amazon box disposal. I've spent many a happy evening folding and crushing excess cardboard into recycle bags. I'm going to teach Harry how to do it one day when I'm ready to pass it over. And of course, make a toast to them. So grab your glasses. And as my dad would say, Lang may your alum reek.
Jaime and Harry.
Over to the Alexes. Bag of props.
Oh God.
We've got microphones. Not quite the standard that Steve delivered. It's a slightly daunting time of proceedings for the bride and groom because obviously, well, me and Ando, this guy here, are about to deliver a speech.
So, to give you a brief introduction to who we are, some of you might know who we are, but we're both called Alex, so you might hear me refer to him as Ro, and he refers to me as
Louder.
Okay, so this is the best man speech with a twist, because firstly, there are two of us, and secondly, we're in the fortunate position of being very good friends with Jaime as well as Harry.
Harry has specifically warned me not to be rude in this speech, not to use any smut or innuendo, and he even said if I made any jokes about sex at any point, he would simply come over and pull me off. That's something to look forward to.
It's taken a very long time to get to this point. I remember about 6 years ago when the Morton girls were working at the local yacht club, Harry was texting me saying, "You really fancy this smoking hot blonde behind the bar." And he really wanted to ask her out. And honestly, it's a miracle he's now marrying Jaime after speaking about Betsy that way. On a serious note, on behalf of Harry, Jaime, the groomsmen and the bridesmaids, and we get a round of applause for the bridesmaids for organising all of this as well. Harry's best man has made us both very proud, and we're delighted we can share the day with them.
It's now around 24 months since Harry asked me to be his best man, which means it's around 25 months since Harry decided that Ando wasn't up to the job on his own. I was thinking of how to structure this speech, and it occurred to me that it's almost exactly 10 years since the three of us became friends. So I thought I'd use this opportunity to give you a rundown of 3 things that we love about Harry.
Firstly, Harry is
10 things, not 3 things. More than 3 things.
Firstly, Harry's about as nice as they come. They say that nice guys come last, but tell that's a guy with a beautiful wife, a brand new puppy, great friends, and soon, I think they're struggling with this bit, but hopefully a new house.
And that's true, Ando. He's also fortunate enough to have, that jawline and those eyes. Truly movie star good looks. It's funny because when we were 16, we were just 3 kind of virgin nerds eating sweets, playing PlayStation, and dreaming of talking to girls. And look at us now. Look how far we've come. Now we're just 2 virgin nerds.
Harry has always been someone who knows what he wants, and he has this remarkable ability to set his sights on something ambitious and focus on it until he attains it. And as soon as he met Jay, he knew at some point we'd be here for their wedding. There was never any doubt that he wanted to move down south with her, or buy a flat with her, or he wanted to get a dog with her and spend the rest of his life with her.
Sport has always characterised our friendship. If you don't know, Harry is an exceptionally good footballer, probably one of the best I've ever played with. Although I did play in a team that lost 17-0 last week, so that's pretty good. As you probably noticed by the size of his muscles, Harry has grown to like the gym. There's no doubt that he has some of the biggest arms here, although I was sharing a car with Ross earlier. Not quite tall. Despite that, he was completely destroyed in an arm wrestle just last month by Warren and Monty. Just a few weeks ago, Harry and I took on the 3 Peaks Challenge to climb the UK's 3 highest peaks. Harry had been supremely confident, having only signed up for the challenge the week before. Fast forward to halfway up the first climb, and I swear to God, he's on his knees with tears in his eyes, complaining that he can't go on. I'll be honest, I left him for dead. Just kind of hoped he'd recover. And when he eventually made it to the top, I asked him how he'd summoned the strength, and he said that he had spoken to Jay, and she said, "Stop being such a pussy, you haven't even done one yet." I guess that made him feel suitably competitive.
And that fiery character's been known to come out when he drinks. So let's rewind to the night before his actual wedding. Back in October, there were about 15 of us. We went back to Harry and Jamie's flat after a night out and had a few too many drinks. And having already tried to start a fight with a random man in the street, Harry proceeded to referee and participate in what can only be described as WrestleMania. I'm not sure what Jaime had in mind for Harry on the night before their wedding, but seeing him being slammed to the ground in a headlock by her cousin and brother probably isn't what she had in mind.
I've been travelling with Jaime and Harry enough times to know that you certainly find out a lot about each other in pressure situations. Whether it's the heat or the lack of sleep, being abroad can really test your relationship. I've been fortunate enough to travel around the world with both of them, and I've seen them in all kinds of sticky situations. But when Harry and Jaime went to Athens on their first proper couples holiday, And there's no easy way to say this. Jaime pooed on a bus. I don't mean at the toilet or with any discretion whatsoever. She pooed on the floor of a public bus. Any man who can handle that kind of woman deserves a knighthood in my opinion.
To conclude, Harry, we're so happy you're the first of our friends to get married. So, on behalf of both of us, please join me in raising a glass to Harry, Mr. and Mrs. Birch.
Before we finish, I've got one more thing to say. I've never been to a wedding before. I'm not sure if this is obvious by my speech, but probably, given that I spent more time talking about the bride's poo rather than about how beautiful she looks. Actually, she looks beautiful, doesn't she? Jaime has asked me to say a few words on her behalf about Harry. To prepare for this moment, I've been method acting all week. I've been on 17 5k runs, bought half a jungle's worth of houseplants, and posted 23,852 photos of Harry looking gorgeous. Lastly, I bought this wig. It's quite fit. I think this is probably taking away from the sincerity of the message, so I'm going to take it off very quickly. Harry, this is from Jay. I know it's not tradition for the bride to ask the best man to share a few words on her behalf, but I feel like we're way past tradition, given that we're celebrating our marriage almost a year after saying I do. Harry, of all my achievements, convincing you that I was the best man you should marry, convincing you that I was the girl you should marry, was definitely my biggest. Nothing is ever too much for you, whether it be cycling across the forest to support me when I ran my first marathon, driving up with me to Blackpool so I could dance, or staying awake until some ungodly hour to comfort me on those nights I can't sleep. As you'd have to be as a loyal Arsenal fan, you're ridiculously optimistic. And through every cancelled wedding plan, rejected house offer, and unsuccessful job application, you're always by my side. To remind me that there's something better out there for us. And whilst I hate to admit it, as today has proven, you're usually right. If you know Harry well, you'll know that he brings sunshine wherever he goes. With his infectious smile, always accompanied by a squinty eye, his bad jokes, and even worse dance moves. He never moans, brackets, except while running. He always gives 100% to everyone and everything. He makes me smile, annoys me until I laugh. I feel so lucky every single day just to know him, let alone be married to him. I could go on forever, but I have the rest of my life for that. So please all join me in raising a glass to Harry. Harry's up next.
That's going to be really, really tough to follow. I'll be honest, I thought putting Ando ahead of me in the speeches was going to go in my favour. I was so wrong. He did a great job. Jay and I are so lucky that Liz today said yes, we can be around here for the weekend. It's an amazing celebration. We all wanted to be here, and it's so lovely to see everyone here today. And we'd love to thank Liz for having us here. It's been made even more lovely by all the decorations you can see behind me. Nicole and Monique had wonderful visions, and it's all come to fruition, and it's so amazing to see. And everyone that helped last night, it's been really, really a pleasure to have everyone coming together to make it look so, so beautiful. So, Nicole and Monique. I also must thank Catherine and Danielle, who put together some lovely cakes both this year and last year, which hopefully we'll get to taste later on, as well as Ellie, who's put together some amazing cupcakes for everyone else that would like to do cakes. So taking on the challenge of some gluten-free cakes, we thank you for that as well. So everyone cakes. We'd also love to thank our parents for more things to have time for today, but essentially it's for everything that you've done over the years for us both. Before we were together, now that we're together, you've done so much for us both. Mum and Dad, I can honestly say I've learned so much from both of you. I've got a couple of examples. Those who know my mum well will know that I actually told her to arrive at 3 PM yesterday, just to get her in time today. As you can see, she is here, and I've learned my lessons. I'm never late. Dad, you taught me some as well. Resilient being one. I'm also excellent at washing up. The world record for the most number of pots and pans for a single roast dinner ever seen on the entire planet. And I'd also like to thank you for putting some wine behind the bar for some drinks this evening. It's been Sadie and Steve, it's your turn. You immediately welcomed me into your family, which was so lovely, and also your home for, as Steve mentioned, a little longer than you probably first planned. In fact, we've actually decided we're probably going to stay. Steve's back will agree, it's actually much better than moving house again. I can't tell you how happy I was when I got that thumbs up emoji on WhatsApp. The day I mentioned I'll be asking Jay to marry me. I'll leave it to you to see if I'm joking or not. And since meeting you both, I've been taking notes most weekends on how to perform the perfect drunken headstand. This is a Milton rite of passage that I've discovered. It was first demonstrated, I think, the first weekend came down to the New Forest by Sadie and Debbie during what I can only describe as some sort of indoor gymnastics routine. It was quite spectacular, but I've been taking notes since, and hopefully we'll get there in the end. Jokes aside, Jay and I really appreciate everything you've done for us, from helping us move into our flat, out of our flat, letting us stay at house in between houses, and always having champagne on hand for any celebration that comes to hand. One wedding, 2 weddings, fun some of the weddings, but also we just love you both loads, so we'd love to thank you. And fingers crossed, everyone will be able to see one of Steve's famous headstands this evening. We want to thank our bridesmaids and groomsmen. You look as amazing as you are friends to us, which says a lot. You mean the absolute world to us both, and to our self-appointed maid of honour, Betsy. Never did I imagine my proposal would be so closely followed by the words, "I can't wait to be your maid of honour." Betsy, it was going to be you. You didn't need to get in the way. To my best men, all I can really say is I should have chosen my words slightly more carefully when sat in the room with you both. And I said, "Alex, will you be our best man?" Fortunately, I managed to play it off pretty well. You're both immediately on board, and you're amazing friends to both myself and Jay. And we can always count on you for anything. For organising the best stag do that never actually happened. Apparently. And I'm looking forward to it to Oktoberfest at some point in the future, one day. So, a bit about me and Jay. You might have heard, we met in 2015 in Keyhaven, and she was behind the bar. What you didn't hear is that she was wearing some sort of bacon-infused perfume, which could have been what sealed it for me. We spoke that evening a bit, and after a brief little stalk on Facebook, I managed to find Jamie, and we were chatting ever since. We then planned to meet up in Bath, as Steve said. Again, the bit that Steve missed out is this is where I found out just how close Jay is to her family. We had some drinks, it was lovely. Jay said, "Oh, I'm going for dinner with my brother." Brilliant, I thought. Pizza. Jay didn't expect me to say yes to dinner that evening, but it was pizza, so I said yes. I went along, and about halfway through the meal, halfway through the food, should I say, Jamie's still eating. Connor just reaches across, grabs a slice, eats it. Jay doesn't bat an eyelid. That is how close Jay is to their family. There are no boundaries. So, and with that is a role that Connor kindly passed on to myself, and I have not gone hungry since. After there, we then went on our first holiday together. We went to Ibiza, I think 6 weeks after we met. Had a lovely holiday, obviously. Drank maybe too much. Came back, and then within about 7 hours flew out to Spain again, because that was the most direct route from Spain to Spain. And we met Mon and Stu for the first time. And on this holiday, a lot happened. A lot happened. You have to ask Stu about his trip over the wall. But it was quite an introduction. That's all I can say. Since then, we've been to university. We've got our first jobs, our second jobs. We've bought a flat. We've sold a flat. And kind of at that point, we thought we were self-sufficient. We thought, actually, we quite like our meals being made for us, our washing, and we moved back in. So the house moves on hold. We're just going to wait it out, really. See where it goes. And what with all the COVID, everything's happened in the last 18 months. We've changed our wedding date more times than I can care to remember. But last year we had a really intimate ceremony, and it was lovely. It was a shame that everyone couldn't be here for that, but we had a lovely time. And there's loads of lasting memories from that day. Lots of which Henry, thankfully, captured for us. And he's here again today. Surprisingly, after we said we're getting married again. So we're here again today, and we have to thank you very much for doing everything you did. It's my wife. And that still sounds strange saying it after a year. It still feels strange saying it. Lots of words you said to me, and I really, really appreciate all of those words. And I'm truly lucky to have met someone who can light up a room just by walking into it with their smile, and can also sing every single word to the Black Eyed Peas at every drunken occasion, whenever there's a microphone, or karaoke, or just an opportunity just to sing the song. I'm so glad that we have today to celebrate, because she's looking so amazing in her dress. I got to see it last year, but everyone gets to see it today, and I'm so glad that everyone does get to see that. It's absolutely amazing. And you make me smile every single day without fail. Even when I'm running, I kind of enjoy it, because I get to spend time. I might moan, but I do really enjoy it. Spend time with you. We've got our dog. That's another step in our relationship, and there's going to be so many more that I can't wait to spend with you for the rest of our lives. Without wishing it away, and with that, thank you all so much for coming. It's been an absolute pleasure. Jamie and I are thrilled to have you all here today to share this moment. It's been a long time coming, but we're so glad that everyone is here today. And yeah, have a drink. Go to the bar, get some food. Get some food after, get some food. There's loads of food, so everyone will just help themselves.
Seems to be chubby.
No,
Yeah, it was normally the first speech. It's just like thanking everybody.
Yeah, it's really, really short.
But actually, like, that was